How's it going, Sha?
Eh, how are you doing?
Yeah, I swear, I really, really hope one day we have a big enough production so that we have a team of people capturing the moment right before we start. You do like these little things every now and then, they like genuinely crack me the fuck up.
Wait, what did I just do?
This is like a little like, like you do these like small reactions of like, all right, I mean, I guess this is happening in my life right now. And
I thought I was taking deep breaths.
like, I don't know, I could feel like you've overcome a lot in your day, you know?
It's great. It's fantastic. Living is such a joy. Really relish it. Really relish it. Absolutely.
Oh man, I'm glad to be a part of it, Shy. That's what's up. Oh man, you been into anything interesting this week, Shy?
Oh, what was this week? I I've allowed another streaming service into my life.
Oh wow, that's big news.
Yeah, I'm so tired of these damn streaming services. But I let room. I found room, found the space for this one.
Okay.
And it's Paramount Plus, so it's like CBS, and then all of the Viacom stuff, so MTV, VH1, Comedy Central, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I've been revisiting old episodes of The Real World.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
TV. So I watched the very first because they have a reunion show that's ongoing right now.
Right.
It comes on weekly, and you can't see the whole season yet. It's only going to be like 6 episodes, but it's all of the original cast from the very first season of Real World in New York, and they're in the same loft in Soho, and it's been like almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's very funny. In that I don't know if everyone, but you also can watch like a lot of the old seasons. So I watched the first season of Real World all the way through.
Okay.
And I'm watching them at 30 years older, trying to grapple and be, because they're at that age where they're just like, oh man, we've been through so much. I genuinely love you for this short period of time that we had in our lives, but that also changed our lives immensely, because that's a big thing to go through. And there are only 6 other people that know what it was that you did, 7 in total. And so like there's that shared bond, but then there's also like, oh man, I got to be in this house for 5 days with these folks. I thought I was done with this. So, and then with the passage of time to see who has maybe grown and who has stunted and who's exactly the same as they were when they were in their 20s and who's drastically different. So it's interesting to watch because I'm the same age as those people.
Right.
And I fully remember when The Real World came on and watching it and all of that stuff. So that's been very interesting to like kind of go back in time and just be like, oh wow, this is what it was like. Like, I mean, I know I lived through it, but this is how we were moving, huh?
Yeah. It was,
oh boy.
I definitely remember when it came out, but I was really, really young. Like I knew it was like a big thing because my older cousins talked about it a lot, and they were like very hyped about the recklessness of it.
Yeah.
It was the most I heard them talk about anyone not in their school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was, for sure. I like, it's funny that you mentioned the recklessness of it, because it was kind of, they were pitched as like, hey, this will be like a documentary of like young artists and they're all living together and blah, blah, blah. It'll be, have a documentary feel. And they were all like, all right. And then, you put it together and it's just like, this one has a crush on that one, and, but you see like the archetypes, you see what they were going with it. and how they built on it, and then you can think of other seasons where you're like, oh well, that was a total game changer when they put cameras in the bathroom, or when they put a hot tub in every house. That completely changed it. Like, but it's also just like, yeah, y'all started this shit.
Yeah. Straight up. Yo, they were the OGs of that whole, like, that whole thing of, like, you know, just putting random strangers together and seeing what happens.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's funny to watch. And the first season didn't have the original music that was which is a big problem with MTV shows, is that, you know, they used whatever was hot and popping at the time music-wise, but they don't have the rights for that because no one really foresaw these shows going into syndication and having to pay for that stuff. So then they had to replace the music with sound-alike music. So, you know, you gotta get these session musicians to play a version. How can you capture the feel of "Groove Is in the Heart" without actually playing "Groove Is in the Heart" or whatever? So a large part of me watching the old season was just me going, oh, that's supposed to be "I'm Too Sexy," or oh, that's supposed to be, you know what I mean? So that's been like a game that I've been playing, and my roommate will be in his room and he'll overhear it, and he's like, "Is that song supposed to be?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a good guess."
There you
go. Yeah. So it's really funny.
Oh man, that's the game show I want to be on. That's awesome. I like that. Shall I trademark that? That's a game idea right there. That's a party game.
Guessing music?
Yeah, guessing music that's like the music. I like it.
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely a very particular skill. And I mean, I have it because of that time frame and me being super into music at that time. I'm like, oh, that's totally this song, that's that song, blah blah blah. But, you know, at a certain point in time, I just tap out and I'm like, I don't know, it's all the baby.
I'm about that. I like that.
Yeah.
I was in the other direction. So I spent my weekend seeing the future. Right? So my cousin is he's like a vice principal or something at like this super nerdy school. And this Saturday was the first time that they were able to host SATs. So he asked me to be a proctor.
Whoa.
Yo, that was crazy. And mind you, like, I dressed like I had to wear like a button-up shirt. Like, he was like, yo, like, you can't like look like you, essentially. Like the way you dress, nah. He's like I forgot like how he wrote it. He was like, so like show up as if it was like your third like uncle's funeral. Like, you kind of care, but only because your family that you care about cares. So you don't want to like disrespect them. So he's like, wear that kind of shirt and you'll be fine. And then I show up and my job, straight up, they give you like a paper with a script to read, and it's like verbatim. Like, it's so crazy how like exact they got it down. Like, it was like, say these lines, take a deep breath, say these lines, walk down the aisle. Like, it's like that. Like, they got it to a science.
Really?
Yeah. It was like,
so it's like stage direction along with the script.
Straight up, like to the T. Like, they got it so down pat. It was like, during this exam, you will be asked to answer these questions. You'll have 4 lines to answer them. Pause. 4 lines to answer them. You don't need to use all 4 lines. Please put away your calculator if you're not assigned to use it during this section. Look to the right. Like, it was craziness like that. Like, they like want you to like strike fear into certain kids.
Did you also say the stage directions? Did you say look to the right?
On the first one, I slipped. Like, I slipped over. Like, oh, that was for me. My bad, y'all. But it was wildly exact. But yeah, it was trippy because like I remember as a kid, like when I was taking them, like the level of like importance that I put on that test and like how stressed I was going in and how little it has affected my life since, you know? And it was just like such a weird thing of like, y'all are here like really trying to change your life. And I wish I could tell you how little of a fuck this matters. And
Right.
I can't convey that because I know they care. And it will matter for like 1% of them. But for the majority of them, it's not going to be like the make or break thing you think it is. And the only thing that I can like exude, like I felt like I can't tell you that because then I'm not doing my job properly as a proctor. So I tried to like exude like the energy of like, yo, I'm going to be at a bar right after this.
Why would you?
I wanted them to know like this isn't
energy
important.
in the room.
Yeah, like I wanted them to be like, hey, listen, this is not that real. So like they'd ask me questions.
I was under the impression that schools were not really taking SATs right now, what with the whole plim-plamery and all.
Yeah, and that's why they reaching out to people like me, like they desperate because essentially you have all these kids applying to colleges, but they can't because of the health risks take the SATs as often as they'd want to. So in order to do so, they are splitting up the groups into like more spaced out spaces. So like the classroom that would normally hold 34, I think my group had 10. So, you have kids that are like, yo, I'm trying to apply to a school and I can't take the SAT because there's only a third of the seats.
Gotcha. So they need more proctors so they can use more rooms.
Exactly. So, that's how I volunteered. All in all, sincerely just trying to do like, good things and, help out these kids get to school. But, like when you're in there, you realize like, yo, they are really stressed and it's not that serious. Do the best you can by all means, but.
Yeah, but at the time it is that serious.
Yeah.
It's extremely serious. And it truly, I mean, it's not that it's not that serious. It's that it is serious, but what you will learn from whatever happens from that point will help you deal with the seriousness.
Okay.
So it's not that it's not serious, it's that you will learn how to deal with serious shit, especially if it doesn't go the way you want it to go. That's the biggest lesson, probably. But at the time, that shit is crucial.
Yeah. I felt that, like I felt like tension in the room. Like a kid would ask me a question and like they were like super nervous. They're like, yo, I want to opt, like they'd want to opt out of like the essay portion because they nailed that before. So they only want this part of the test.
Oh,
and
wow.
Like,
look at this.
So it was like strategic. So they're like, hey, how do I do that? I don't want to mess up and click this. And like, I ain't know the fucking answers. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll get back to you on that. So, I'm like, yo, just focus on the part that I know, and I'll get you an answer later. Like, I wasn't like, not going to get him the answer. But like, I could feel like in her heart, she was stressed of like, yo, I didn't get this answered. I can't focus on the test.
Right. I can't leave this hanging, Chad.
Yeah.
I need someone to tell me what to do with this, or else my brain will be only on that.
Yeah.
And I can't concentrate on the other thing. Yeah, man. Taking tests is
Yo, she kept looking
wild.
back at me the whole time we was setting up. Like the test ain't even start, and she was like nervous. So I was like, all right, I'm just cause it's you, like I'm gonna go look. But like you off to a bad start in life. You gotta change that. Like there's gonna be a lot of things you don't know.
You think so, but please believe that's going to be the person who double and triple checks things, be that in the office or be that in the fast food spot.
Listen, I want her doing heart surgery, but I'm okay if you put like tomatoes on my burger. It's all good. Like, like it's not that
those
serious.
Those are two drastically different situations, but please believe your burger will be as correct as your heart if she continues to double and triple check the way that she does. Were they all like high school kids? Were there any? Do they even do this? I don't know if you experienced this if they did this in New York or not. But when I was in 7th grade, they gave us these little aptitude tests. And after those tests, they were like, oh, well, you could take the SAT.
Word?
Through like, I don't know what Duke University had to do with it or what, but it was just kind of like, if you tested well in some ways, they were like, well, why don't you can take an SAT just to kind of see how you feel about it or do it or whatever. So there were times that there were 7th graders in the room with high schoolers taking the SAT. Now, it didn't mean you couldn't use those scores.
Right.
But it was a good barometer as to where you were, I guess, if you wanted to just really shoot forward or whatever. So in 7th grade, I took the SAT with a couple of my classmates as well. And like, I think the parents of one kid dropped us off at Georgia Tech, which in downtown, which is where we took it. And then my dad picked us up and took us to the varsity afterwards. But at that time, Atlanta wasn't as welcoming as it is now.
Okay.
To the kids. So we were just a bunch of 12-year-olds just sitting there waiting on just downtown Atlanta, just waiting on a parent to come walk us over to the varsity and then taking SATs. And you could see the high schoolers who needed this.
Yeah.
Looking at these kids coming in just like, and taking this test and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I really hope they didn't group it like the way they do like public school grades, where like you knew like 3-1 was the smart third graders and like 3-6 was the kids with bad grades. Like, what if you were like a junior in high school, you need this test, but they put all the kids with like a 65 average with the high performing 7th graders. Like, that'd be grimy.
Yeah, I don't think they did that. I think they were just like, whenever you register to do this, pick a time that you want to do this, and we'll just throw you in with the other kids who are doing it. I dare say that I probably did better in 7th grade than I did in 11th grade on the SAT. I know that.
Were you more focused back then? That you were still being studious?
I mean, in between the time that I was 12 and the time that I was 16, they opened up nightclubs to me. So it's like, I get it, but also I want to dance or whatever, Yeah, just usual stuff. Not that it's all for naught, but especially now that the scoring is such that I don't even understand it's twice as many points. I mean, like, I don't even know. There was no essay when I had to take it. Like, it was all kind of. I
didn't have any of that. I know it went up to like 2,400 at one point. They brought it back down to 1,600.
Oh, good. And I'm still okay.
We're still good, yeah. But the essay thing is new to me. Like, I didn't have to do any of that. I remember when I took it, it was like the first time I realized that like girls are into men of mystery, because like the whole time like in class, like I'm like being class clown, funny Gastor, and I don't, I give off this energy of I don't do well in school. I always did well, I just didn't like show that. So the SAT grades, they got like a lot of them became public very quickly. So I did really well on the PSATs and the SATs. So like people would say it, and like I didn't want to talk about my SAT grades, but like it got known that I did well on it. So like I was being like coy. I was like, yeah, whatever. I kept it moving. And like a whole different batch of young ladies were like, oh yeah, Gastor's smart and mysterious, and he be studying on a lot. Like I really don't. I just don't know how to flex about grades. So I'm trying to change the topic to something that's more in my ballpark. I don't know how I got the score either, but here we are, Oh man, good times.
Oh, that's so funny.
Let's get into the news, Sha.
Okay.
Russia and Iran tried to interfere with the 2020 election, U.S. intelligence agencies say. Russia and Iran both carried out operations to try to interfere with the 2020 presidential election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But intelligence experts also found that China, which was previously thought to be expanding its UN's influence efforts, ultimately did not deploy operations to affect the outcome of the Trump-Biden election. The report also said that there are no indications that foreign actors attempted to alter the U.S. ballots or vote tabulation.
What? Okay, so did they do it or not?
Yeah, like I was just like I felt like this was saying like Like, I was okay with this if it's saying what I think it's saying. Like, it felt like 2016, they tried to rig the election. That's the vibe I got. They were like,
Right.
we're going to take votes. We're going to mess with the voting systems. 2020, it sounded like they were like, all right, we messed up. That was kind of grimy, but we still don't want Joe Biden to win. So, like, they hired a street team, you know? And
Okay.
you know,
so you think the budget was smaller?
Yeah, like
because more eyes were on them,
right.
So they were trying to do it in a more quiet way. Also, I mean, Russia definitely had to pull back.
Yeah.
Iran, I didn't know that we needed to keep an eye on them for this. I don't know. I mean, at this point, there was to even attempt it is just kind of ballsy because we saw the jig.
Right.
The jig is sky high. It's so up. Like we already know that someone's going to try something.
Yeah, like I feel like at this point they should just publicly say like, "Yo, we as Iran support this president," and I would be cool with that. Like I wouldn't agree with who every country picked, but I feel like just being straight up about their stance would hold weight versus like, you know, putting up flyers. I don't know what they do, but like whatever their system is of influencing that isn't illegal, I don't know. I feel like there would be more power like if Russia was like, yo, we rock with this dude versus being shady about it, if that makes sense. No?
I guess so. I mean, they ultimately, I feel like they were still saying that while also trying to be behind the scenes. I just saw further down in this article, it says, in addition to Iran and Russia, the investigation found that Cuba, Venezuela, and Lebanese Hezbollah also worked to influence the election, though on a smaller scale. Well, shit, who didn't have their fingers in this election?
Yo, real talk, I think they voted more than we did here.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe it was Lebanese Hezbollah who turned Georgia blue. I don't know.
Shouts to Lebanese Hezbollah. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good job.
I guess. Shout out to you. I mean, you did try to fix our election, so I don't know if we really want to. But then again, I mean, hell, the people here tried to fix the election.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to fix the election. That's so ridiculous. No one should care about our homecoming election that much.
Yeah.
No one should care about our little homecoming queen.
You know, why isn't it like automatic, like to register to vote? Like, I feel like if you like 18, like I know they could like automate so much. Like, I know you could find me for my taxes. You could, you have most of like our driver's licenses or IDs and passports. Like, I feel like if I'm over 18 and I got a social security number, I should be just automatically in.
Yeah, and also, why are you having to go to very specific spots?
Yeah.
Because it seems like if there's just one master list and you just compare the information to that list, it's like, all right, there's a machine over there. All kinds of things. I mean, we ultimately know why. It's the racism aspect. You know how racism is an aspect. But yeah, I mean, I know when I was a senior in high school, there was a day where they took all of the seniors and sat us down in the cafetorium, and which is a cafeteria with a stage. So it's an auditorium and cafeteria, so they called it the cafetorium.
Okay, and, I thought it was like in like Southern rappers would be like they got an album, you know, instead of that.
Nope. Yeah, no. It literally was called a cafetorium.
Okay.
And they passed out, you know, forms to register to vote. Now, you weren't kept from graduating if you didn't fill out the form.
Right.
If you didn't want to, you didn't have to. But for the most part, they were like, look, y'all are 17, 18 years old. Just go on and fill this out. Let's just go ahead and get you registered to vote.
That's dope.
And for the most part, I think we all did. Now, I was called for jury duty almost immediately. But yeah, you know, but I think it is illegal to like withhold someone's diploma, right? Unless they register to vote. You know, it's like all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. There are many ways that I feel like they could streamline things, but you know, racism aspect. Racism aspect.
Yeah, I feel like it should be like the same as like I want it to be as easy as it is like Venmo. Like I feel like it should be an app on my phone. And I feel like the amount of fraud they're complaining about is about the same amount of fraud that I feel like I hear about credit cards. Like one out of every 2 to 3,000 people that I know be like, hey, I had somebody like make a charge on my debit card this year, and
Yeah,
they get it
that's
fixed,
true. But, I mean, people were going in there and taking money out of people's Venmos and Cash Apps too. So I don't want no one to be able to. I mean, it's getting easier to just crack the code on a lot of stuff.
Fair.
So I worry about that, like someone just going in and hitting the switch. Easier because it's all in the cloud somewhere.
Right.
All it takes is someone to accidentally trip over the plug of the Amazon cloud server, and we are fucked. We are fucked. If someone trips over the cord that plugs the cloud in,
it's over.
It's all over. It's complete mayhem. The whole planet will be plunged in darkness.
Yeah, I would love for you to write this like super simple ending version of The Matrix where the dude fights for 8 hours.
Trips over the thing that makes the humans stay batteries or whatever, and now they all die, and so all of civilization dies, and things glitch constantly.
That's it.
I only saw the first Matrix. I don't know what happens in the second or third.
Shot saw the first one. She's like, why don't they just unplug this? Now, maybe it could be done already. You don't need 3 movies for this.
I know. A lot of things could be answered if someone would just either like answer their phone or unplugged a thing.
Big facts.
There would be a lot less sequels.
There you go. That's how I fix my computer. Unplug it. Yeah. That's it. Restart.
All these robot movies and nobody throws water on them. What are we doing?
There you go. Shalewa Sharpe, tech support. Send your emails.
Don't email. I'm going to tell you to throw water on it. So don't do that.
Oh man, Georgia groups are lobbying Coca-Cola and other companies over voting rights. New roadside billboards in Atlanta are urging Coca-Cola, Home Depot, and other Georgia-based corporations to oppose voting restrictions being proposed by the Republican state lawmakers. Voting right groups in the state are launching a campaign on Monday, calling upon corporations to speak out publicly against legislation that they argue would suppress access to voting, especially among people of color who tend to support Democratic candidates. This is something we kind of touched on a bit before. They're targeting Home Depot, Delta Airlines, insurance provider Aflac, previously mentioned Coca-Cola, and most of these companies are basically saying, hey, we support voting rights. How can we do that publicly without saying that publicly? So we don't we don't want to piss off the government.
Look, we support what you're saying, but you have to understand we also pay both parties a lot of money so that we can do whatever the fuck we want. How are we able to do that without upsetting the apple cart?
We know we need y'all to be happy because you work for us.
Right.
But also we pay them so we can keep making money.
Right. So how do we do this? Yeah. They're having a completely different meeting.
Oh man, that's got to be great. I'd love to be in those walls, like just to see how people discuss that. Do you think there's a place in corporate America where they discuss that openly like that? Like, yo, listen, on the real, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's on the golf course.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's on the golf course, and I think it's in sauna rooms. I don't know. Maybe I've seen too many movies in the 80s, but I think it's on the golf course because I've heard, so many women who are executives who are like, I'm not being invited to these extracurricular activities, but that's where the deals are being made. That's where decisions are being made. That's where alliances are being formed. But I can't go. Either I'm not invited or the country club they're going to doesn't allow women or something. You know what I mean? Like, And so I think these conversations are being had point blank, but they're happening not in the office. They're happening in other places in ways that they can't be tracked.
That's real.
Yeah, that's one of my many conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you cracked the code there, Sha.
Yeah, sadly.
Oh man, I'm teaching my son how to golf ASAP.
Absolutely. Teach your daughter.
Yeah, word. My daughter.
Teach her too, because she's going to be the one that they're going to go, well, we didn't even think you knew how to golf. And then she'll know exactly how to beam all of them upside the head with a ball.
Straight up. 4 irons.
Still get a hole in one.
I know what those words mean, but she going to be in there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? We're going to get the putter. Use the putter for whatever you use the putter for, but use that shit. Oh man, Virginia Governor Northam restores voting rights to 69,000 former felons with new policy. That's right. The Virginia Democratic Governor Ralph Northam announced Tuesday that he's taking executive action to restore voting rights and other civil rights to former felons as soon as they complete their prison terms, a move that will immediately apply to more than 69,000 formerly incarcerated Virginians. Northam's actions is the latest push to expand the franchise to ex-convicts in the state, and comes just months before Virginia's gubernatorial and state legislative elections. I love this. I've always been pro rights of our citizens, and while I do get the measures that are taken, when someone is in jail, I think if they've paid their price to society, that should come back with those rights being reattained. In particular, where like so many of people that are jailed currently being jailed for things that are no longer illegal. In places like Virginia in particular, you have like a lot of black and brown people being jailed for like marijuana charges and stuff like that. That it's kind of dumb. So I support homie bringing out these votes.
Yeah. Anytime I read an article that has anything to do with Governor Northam, I always just scroll to the bottom to see if they mention that whole blackface thing.
Yeah, I mean,
and they don't. I guess we just moved right on past it.
Hey. This is my thing, Sha. Listen, he did the blackface thing. I get it. But this is also the closest I've seen somebody to giving us any acres and mules. Like, he's actively trying.
No, absolutely.
Like, whether it's for, again, I don't care if you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart or you're doing it to secure, like, for an ulterior motive, you are still doing good.
I just thought maybe at the end it would be like, Northam was quoted as saying, does this make up for the, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought maybe there'd be something like that in there. I certainly don't want to beat that dead horse, but I'm always just like, hey, is this the one that did the black? Oh, okay, it is. And that's cool. I mean, look, if you're able to, if you're able to do blackface and keep your job, don't rock that boat. Do what the people want. People want, Yo,
how good do you have to be at your job to overcome blackface? Like, this is incredible.
Honestly, you just got to be white and in the South. It helps to be good at your job, but you also just have to be white and in the South and go, y'all know. And then all the other white people go, yeah, we do. And then you can keep it moving.
Yeah, that makes sense. What threw me off is when homeboy from Canada got caught out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, yo, you the head dude, and you like young.
You're the head dude.
I don't know what the title is, but whatever that guy is, you that guy.
I think that's it. Canada's head dude. Justin Trudeau or whatever his name is. Yeah, that's so funny. Canada's head dude.
Canada's head dude in charge right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, shouts to Virginia. Love this. You know what I mean? A whole bunch of relatives of the Clips is going to be able to vote now. You know what I mean? Pushing Malice is running for office. I love it.
They're only voting for bills that are grinding. That's all they're voting for.
Oh man, you're gonna have 69,000 people voting, and we can't tell any of their voices apart.
I know. Like, wait, did that one vote about? Is he talking about the Lord? That's the only way I think I was able to tell which one is which.
Guy. Okay, cool. He hasn't cursed in 16 bars. That's gotta be him.
Yeah, I swear to God, when they first came out, I thought they were twins.
Yeah,
they're not. Though,
no,
right?
no. One is older. The the Christian one is the older one, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Malice became no malice. Yo, but what I liked about that transition is that like he put out like a religious book of like readings and his writing and scriptures, but like he still promoted it like a gangster rap album. Like he had like coming soon posters and like really like really aggressive trailers. He's like, yo, here in the streets, my readings about Christ, formerly of the Clips.
I mean, and that's how you're going to reach the kids.
Hey, it worked, man.
You got to go to where they are.
I bought those copies. I ain't going to front. I own that book. We do it. Oh, man. Family torn apart as they speak to investigators about their father's participation in the riots. That's right, y'all. 16-year-old testified against her father in court on Monday as prosecutors against him, prosecutors used against him what they had learned from their children about his resolve to take part in the U.S. Capitol riots. Quoted directly, "My heart is broken. I see people in your family suffering. I see an American family suffering," Magistrate Judge Zia Faruqi said at the hearing in Washington on Monday about how politics and the Capitol riots has divided American families. During the 2-hour hearing, the daughter's testimony about her father, Guy Rafit, Texas 3%er, became one of the most searing examples of how close family and friends have aided investigators with the dragnet following the insurrection. So yeah, major props to this kid, 16 years old, showing a lot of bravery.
Her, I remember her brother was on CNN.
Yeah.
And he turned in the father to the FBI.
Yeah.
And this article says the son has since left the family home, essentially disappearing and living in what the Justice Department calls an undisclosed location. God damn.
Yeah, it's real. So, like, it's like a part of me was like, yo, much respect to this, like, to these people from Texas showing me that there's this kind of person in Texas. By the same token, the fact that he has to hide still shows me there's still other people in Texas.
There are other people in Texas, but he's ultimately hiding from his family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that it may, even if it's his father who is still currently in jail, I mean, there's certainly an uncle or a couple of cousins or whatever who were just like, that's bullshit that you turned in your dad and we're going to let you know about it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like on top of just people who are like, how could you turn in your father for what he believes? And it's like, well, because my dad believes in storming the Capitol. Like that's not.
Yeah, like I don't think they turned him in until he did that. Like up until that point, it's like, yo, my dad a little wild. You know what I mean? Let's go hang out in the other room. Leave him in the living room alone. That's essentially what they were doing here, you know. And I respect that. You know, he different generation. You don't relate to him. They let him have his feelings. But when he stormed the Capitol, that's different energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he also was like trying to keep them quiet about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that was me, but y'all ain't seen nothing, right? And it's like, no, we saw you. You're on TV for 3 hours. Like, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, that's got to be very hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially with your parent, depending on your relationship with your parent.
Nah,
like, that's got to be a little tough to just see your parent doing something wrong and go, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell on you.
Big time. I'm impressed. Like this is a lot of character being shown here by these kids. Ironically, I'm wondering if they learned that from their dad. Like, yeah, my dad told me to stand up for what I believe in, and it
probably
and it worked against that dude.
Probably, yeah.
You also, admittedly, I gotta say, I have no problem with being ignorant and learning new things all the time. This article definitely made me Google how Texas 3%ers are not the same as Wu-Tang's 5%ers.
Yeah, no. They're
Different
2% short.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they share a similarity
it's a
with
thing.
Yeah, but
if you rap about it, you are talking about the wrong thing.
Yeah. So lesson learned. You know, it was a fun Wikipedia, rabbit hole.
Have up two separate Wikipedias, like 3%ers versus 5%ers. Like, was that your new verses? 3%ers and 5%ers.
That's the verses I'm trying to see. I like that.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, the music on the 5%er side is gonna be better.
You're gonna slaughter. I love it.
I feel like. I mean, unless there's like a 3%er version of Poor Righteous Teachers, which I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
Oh man.
Wow. I can't believe I just pulled Poor Righteous Teachers out of my
I can't wait to see people emailing us about that one. They're like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
The Vatican says it will not bless same-sex unions, calling them a sin. The Vatican said Monday that the Catholic Church would not bless same-sex unions in a combative statement approved by Pope Francis that threatens to widen the chasm between the church and much of the LGBTQ community. Explaining their decision in a lengthy note on Monday, the Holy See referred to same-sex unions as a choice, describing them as sinful and said they cannot be recognized as objectively ordered to God's plan. This stance is certain to disappoint millions of gay and lesbian Catholics around the world. The blessings of homosexual unions cannot be considered licit, said the Vatican's top doctrine office, the Congregation of the Doctrine of Faith, as written in their statement. God does not and cannot bless sin, the statement added. This decision is a setback for Catholics who had hoped the institution would modernize its approach to homosexuality. Dozens of countries, including many in Western Europe, have legalized same-sex marriages, and the church's reticence to embrace the LGBTQ community has long held the potential to alienate its from younger followers. Yeah.
Oh boy, that is sad. I feel for folks who really I don't want to say cling to their faith, because that makes it sound like they're hanging off the side of a boat while it's sinking.
Right.
And that's not what you're doing. It is your faith and you truly believe, and to have the top poobah of your faith go, yeah, God doesn't really like this much. And it's like, really? Does God like this big ass house you're living in?
Word.
Like, I don't know what's going on. But anywho, I'm not Catholic. I can't speak on it. I'm not really anything. I'm agnostic, so at best all I can do is shrug. But but it does make me sad. I mean, like, I saw a lot of the response on Twitter was like, well, no one wants you anyway, Catholic Church. You got your own problems, which is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who believe and love the faith, and this would have been nice. This would have been nice.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't like God is cool with it. If it's like, I don't know, God is ambivalent at best.
Right.
If that was their statement, that would have been nicer.
Yeah, like he ain't even need to take like that aggressive of a move. Exactly. Like you could have just been like, I don't know, potato type thing, and people would have been like, oh, he's on our side, and he would have got mad love for it. And it seemed like he was going in that kind of direction up until this point, which is what I think really hurts, because it was like hope building that the direction of the church on this topic was shifting. But I guess there are several people that's the only thing I could think of. I think like the other like cardinals, like they got the Pope in the room. They're like, yo, my G, you getting a little wild right now.
Oh, right. They had to rein him in.
Yeah, like I think he wants to go in that direction, and he was
perhaps. I mean, what else what else did he do recently? Didn't he say it was okay to like look directly at women in the eye or some shit? Like something that was like,
No.
it was like, okay, well, welcome to the rest of us, but we get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
Like,
pushing in that kind of direction. Like he in an interview he said that he was like kind of advocating for civil union laws of same sex couples.
Right. Right.
They like pulled it back. The Vatican did officially, but like that felt like his office, not him. Like when he got interviewed, he was like, "Yeah, this seems logical," and then like the next day, like the office of the Pope was like, "Nah,
his blood sugar."
Yeah, he was wild. My man's cardboard hat was too tight that day.
Yeah. We gave him a Snickers, and he rethought the whole thing.
So yeah, it sucks to like kind of see that. You know, they can't. I'm just like, there's so much wild shit in that book that they clearly have like overlooked over the years. They're like, all right, that make real talk. The guy was a little wild because it was 2,000 years ago. We don't follow those rules anymore. You know,
right? Yeah,
like you've clearly understood that some of those things just ain't logical. But apparently, for this one rule, they being real sticklers about it, and I don't understand why.
Real sticklers about homosexuality. Being a bunch of nervous Nellies about queerness over there, and I don't.
That's it, me. Let it go. Loosen up, man. Oh man, freaking Pope picking the wrong hill to die on over here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I still, by the way, I had this theory. I grew up Catholic, and I remember adamantly telling my priest that I should be the next Pope. And he was like, "Why should you be the Pope?" I was like, "It doesn't need to be me specifically, but I do think that what they should do, instead of hiring a like 80-year-old dude that's about to die, like for like a 10-year experiment, they should be like, yo, this dude's the next Pope. He's 22. He's showing a lot of promise. You know what I mean? We're going to train him for the next 10 years, and he's going to be Pope from 32 to 42. Just to like modernize the role for a little bit." So,
okay.
You know,
so would he have all of the normal Pope
full Pope powers? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All the rules and regulations and flexing that comes with it. You know what I mean? But it comes with like a timeline. You got to give 10 years to like, you know, there's a lot of books I'm assuming you got to read. So that gives you time to do that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Couple years of internships.
Are you then promised a popeship?
Right. And then you get the popeship at the end, but again, also capped like 10 years. My thinking is...
Oh, so everybody's capped.
Everybody capped. It's just a 20-year commitment, 10 years of, you know, prep work, you know, like a stewardship, if you will. And then 10 years in the job. Like, all right, you're going to give us a real solid, hardcore 10 years. You know, and I figured, A, that would bring someone younger, more modern into the role. B, somebody healthy. Every Pope I've known, they always about to die. Guess what? It makes sense. There's a lot of pressure to throw on an 80-year-old dude. No other country does that because they countries and they realize there's a lot of stress we throwing on this dude. Pope is the only dude that don't have a country but got country-like pressure. You know, he got like a little city, but he got billions of people almost relying on this dude to do stuff. My grandpa don't got that kind of time. He don't got that energy. I seen that dude. He's tired. You know what I mean? So why we throwing that on this dude? Like, that dude, like all the 80-year-olds should be people, like all the cardinals that are like 80 and up. I still want them involved, but I want them to be like the counsel for the 40-year-old dude. Like, yo, go to them, get the info of time. Like, all right, because you got the young people. That's the new people in front of you, right? Those are your masses. They're going to tell you what they feeling day to day. And the cardinals, the OGs that have been in the church for 60 years, they'll keep you in check by saying, yo, this is what we've done historically. So you got both sides of the information. And then you, as like someone in the middle, a 40-year-old guy who spent 10 years training, you know what I mean?
So the training years would be a man in their 30s.
Yeah, like 20 to 30, you out in the you training. You know what I mean? You going church
And then
to church.
wait, hold on. You're training 20 to 30. You're training.
Yeah.
30 to 40. You're doing your interim popeship.
Yeah, you in it.
All right, and then you come out after 10 years, so now you're 40. So 40 to like 50, you're learning the rest that you need to know now that you've had the job, and you're like, here's how I want this to look when I come back.
I think 40 to 50 is like you full on free, like you got all the powers. Then 50.
Oh, okay. So wait, there's no time in between your training popedom and your actual popedom?
Nah, you in it. That's it. Because no one else is getting trained in popedom.
You're not gonna have a pope. You're gonna have a pope forever. Because you started with them younger, and you got at least 10 years of a pope, and then you've got. Here's what I think the popes need to remember. Remember the German dude that was before this one?
Yeah.
Who just quit the job?
Yeah.
That was the first time I knew that popes could quit.
I love that.
Like I feel like from here on out, popes shouldn't feel like it's forever. I know they feel like it's their calling, but I also want them to know that there's a way out, because that dude was just like, you know what? I don't have to do this. Let me go on and put in my 2 weeks notice. He literally put in 2 weeks notice.
I love that.
And then he was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to take my red shoes and I'm out. And I just want all the popes to know that it doesn't have to be until you die. It could just be until, like, your sciatica, you got to get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
So I think if we start them younger, yes.
Yeah.
And then, but I think I think it should be a little less time in the training.
Okay.
And I think you should shadow the older pope. But I think that you and the older pope do get to confer on things. Like, you occasionally get to do a mass on TV and shit like that. Yeah. You have some say in some of the policies being made because you're younger and you're closer. Your ear is closer to the street.
Okay.
And then you, as that pope moves on, then you move up, and now you got someone, trailing you.
Yeah, I like that.
In a way.
There's a shift that has to happen. Like, in my head, you became pope during your prime years. Like, because at that point, you're healthiest. You could focus on just the struggle and tough decisions you got to make. You got a decent amount of book knowledge, hands-on information, access to the day-to-day people, access to the OGs. And then when you're done being a pope, it should be like religious, like globetrotters. Like, you on tour, you know what I mean? You doing like hit masses, you know what I mean? Yo, come see Pope John III rock out this month's Christmas concert,
So then, who were the Washington Generals in this? Who's the basketball team that's going to be dressed like devils, I assume?
As part of the internship right there. You're early, when you training to be Pope, you got to do the other roles in the play.
Oh, wow. This is a lot of commitment we are asking of people.
I mean, in my defense shot, it's a lot of commitment to be Pope. You've already committed to a lot just to have a shot at that role. So I don't think I'm asking for more time.
Okay, all right. That is a very good point. That is a very good point.
I think it makes sense to me. And then the same thing, when you're 70, 80, you should be able to enjoy retirement. That dude should
Here's the thing, though. With that kind of power,
yeah,
you don't want to step down.
True.
In your 70s or 80s?
Yeah.
You do not want to step down at all. If you are still able to get around and you have most of your thought processes working, you don't want to quit. So that's going to be the tough thing, because it's not just like, all right, cool, you did your time as Pope, thank you. So now you're asking the most powerful person in an extremely powerful religion,
right,
to step down. And who are you? I'm the Pope. How are you going to tell me to step down? I've been up here. I feel like that's a conversation that will be had every 4 to 5 years as the next old guy has to. Yeah, if they don't die out, then they don't. I mean, they either need to be lazy with the job in general so that they'll feel fine quitting.
Right.
Like I think it's probably what happened with the German dude. Or
that's too much work, me. I ain't signed up for this.
Yeah, this is a lie. No, there's this much paperwork. I just thought I got to ride in a car and stuff. But
I was working 1 hour a week before this. You know what I mean? Sundays at 12. I was good. That's it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just. The hard part will be getting all these old dudes to give up their power.
Okay.
Because I think we are seeing that people do not like to give up their power at all. So be that a pope, be that a girl boss, be that just a white person, who's the assistant manager at Wawa's or whatever. They do not want to give up that power. They're the hardest people to work with. Assistant managers, they're the worst.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I hated like when I made deliveries at Target when I was at PepsiCo. Like I was selling potato chips. I'd show up to Target and like everybody was a boss in some way. Like Target makes that's the supervisor for those 2 aisles. Like you the supervisor of 2 aisles? You know, you're like, he's I'm in charge of me and this other person. Like you don't even see that dude. Those are just 2 different shifts. You ain't in charge. They tell him the same thing. Now, I'm with you. Okay, you sold me on this shot. I like the system.
There's a way I do like the influx of, I like getting the fresh blood in. I like airing out the castle or whatever the fuck it is that they live in. You know what I mean? Let's open those windows. Let's let a bird in. Let's do something.
I'm telling you.
But just know that it's going to be hard to get them old motherfuckers out of there. Because, I feel like it's hard now.
All you got to do is look at Obama. Obama's a cool dude, but you got to say he looks happier today than he did while he was in office.
Well, yeah, sure, he looks happier today. But you also look at Biden, who worked so hard to get this power.
True, yeah. Nah, you're right.
He's been chasing the presidency for a long time.
Yeah.
So if you're that close to it, and then you still gotta wait.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we'll get to Wyland a little bit.
Every time I see Obama, I'm like, man, his jump shot looks better than ever.
Oh yeah, he's chill. He's definitely more liquid in his joints, or if you could even say that.
Nah, that's fair. Okay, I got to rethink this, but I will put out the theories.
Just bring it back. Just bring it back to us.
I'm gonna workshop it. You know what I mean? Present it to the people,
listeners, especially Catholic listeners, let us know if he's on to something. I don't want to step out of turn because I am not Catholic, but I do know how old men are when they're in power. And I feel like you got to keep that in mind.
Speaking of old Christians, Sister John, cleared to travel. My transition game was flawless, Sha.
Wow, fantastic.
Sister John cleared to travel to Loyola Chicago's first round NCAA tournament game. That's right. When Loyola Chicago opens the 2021 NCAA men's tournament on Friday, she will be in the stands supporting her team. Loyola is a 101-year-old team chaplain and a sports icon. She's been working with the school since 1994 as a chaplain for the school's basketball team, and she kind of got popular a few years back, I believe in 2018, when they first made the tournament. She kind of got a lot of reviews, and they started selling T-shirts and bobbleheads of her on the school merchandise. So yeah, major shout outs to this 101-year-old lady still showing up to games. I can't get tickets, but I know one day when I'm 101, I'm hoping the school will put me on a shirt and let me come into the game.
But she's still at work?
Yeah, she's still out.
She's the team chaplain.
So, she should be getting OT for showing up to these games.
She's 101 years old.
Yeah.
And she's still coming in. Has no one told her about television?
There's no way she's seeing the game well from the stands. I don't care where she is sitting. When you're 101 years old, your eyes don't work that well. Like wherever she's sitting.
That's in person or that's staring at an iPad. Either way, you're not going to see. You're just going to recognize your colors as they run up and down the field. You don't know. You don't know these players apart.
Oh man.
She's probably using the same prayer for everything. If any team member comes to her and is like, "Hey, can you pray for me? My knee hurts." She's probably like, "Yeah. Good bread, good meat, good Lord, let's eat." You know what I mean? Like, she's probably not even.
Oh man. Well, good luck to them. Good luck to her. I hope she makes it through this. Yeah, at that age, everything is a challenge at that point, right? Like you gotta just assume, like you gotta just like my thoughts and prayers are with you, even if you're alive, just because you don't assume they will make it through the end of the tournament. Major props to her. You think you still gonna have hobbies at 101?
Oh my God. At 101, I don't know, because I don't think I've done all the things that when they ask old women how they manage to live past 100, they always say stuff like, I drink a Miller Lite a day or some shit. You know what I mean? 2 raw eggs or whatever. I've not done any of these weird superstitious things.
Yeah, you gotta like get one defiant thing you do that breaks it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love men or I hate men, or it's one or the other. And I don't know. I mean, I'm ambivalent towards men in general. I think I'm so ambivalent towards everything that I don't know if that's necessarily a recipe to a long life. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, Shalewa Sharpe, how did you make it to 103 years old? And I'm just like, I shrug a lot. Like that's not going to be.
Yo, real talk. I figured it out, Sha. I know why you're going to live to be 101.
Why?
Because of this podcast. Real talk. Yo, you know how gangster that would be? Like, yo, why are you still? Yo, I got this podcast. I've been doing it 50 some odd years. We still out here in these streets.
This is the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Y'all would tune into a 90-year-old
podcast. At 101, I'm still going to be like, hey man, just check out my SoundCloud. Like, what?
Yo, my Spotify numbers is killing it.
Yeah, that hurts my heart. Oh.
Oh man. Please like and subscribe and be part of the journey. We getting there, baby.
This journey can end any day now, but I'm here.
Even in loss, Julius Randle's Knicks show they're no flash in the pan. This article, you can already tell, is written by a Knicks fan. Moral victories.
How good
I just found the title cracked me up. I've never seen like an article about a sporting game in the middle of the season. This ain't the playoffs. And the first line is moral victories are rare in the NBA. Oh my God. How bad is this team been the last 20 years? That we are writing articles about moral victories. But that is what it's coming to for Knicks fans. It's tough out there. Even scarier are the ones actually worth celebrating, they say. And their 117-112 loss to the Brooklyn Nets on Monday night. The New York Knicks managed to grab a different sort of victory. They left a lasting impression. That's right. This is what's out there for the Knicks fans. They are now celebrating almost wins, but they're getting there.
That is a little weird. That is a little. I mean, like, look, I get that. I think the point of this article is just to be like, hey, there has been a sea change in this Knicks team.
Yeah.
We know we've been close. We also know we've been far. We know ultimately we have not been great overall, but this time we're doing better, and we're also okay if we're not great. And I mean, I guess that's, I don't know. It feels like the kind of quiet optimism that one would have after a whole year in a pandemic, where it's just like we're taking our wins. Like the whole Knicks fan base is just like, we're taking our wins where we can.
Yo, they doing
we are breathing deeply.
Trophies.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, and I mean that's fine. I mean, it definitely must be annoying. Because they did just lose to the Brooklyn Nets.
Shouts Brooklyn, let's go all day, bang bang.
And look, and I mean, I've been very clear about how my favorite ball player was Steve Nash, and so I'm excited, which already is like, all right, but and but the Nets are building some sort of weird like what's the Terminator in Terminator 2?
Oh, the T2, the 2000.
Yeah, there's some version of that. And at some point that will eventually fall apart and melt for sure. But right now it seems to be chugging along and they seem to be doing a thing.
Yeah.
And and I support them in it because I support, again, Steve Nash. But it also, I can see where Knicks fans would be upset at that.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I've been pro Brooklyn this whole time. I'm very happy we're doing well. I do want the Knicks to do well. I like the smack talking. I like the hanging out at a bar and hearing the other side explain their argument. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But this was an 8-paragraph article about an almost victory. That's aggressive, yo. That's real. He found 8. Dan Fable on Twitter. I had to shout you out. Incredible work. 8 paragraphs of how positive it was that they almost won, despite the fact that they were missing their best player. By the way, the Nets didn't even have Kevin Durant. So when the team still beats you while missing their best player, this shouldn't be this shouldn't be 8 paragraphs of detail.
I mean, yeah, but you know what? When you're paid by the word, inspiration strikes.
This is fair. You know what I mean? Incredible work as a writer. I'm impressed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I'm still scrolling. This isn't extremely long.
It's Diesel. It's Diesel, yo. My man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I cut him short. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I was wrong. 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, no, this is oh my
18,
God. This
19,
is a long piece.
20, 21, 22. Yeah, 20. I'm at 25 paragraphs. I didn't even count anything that was like a one-line break.
Right, yeah.
25 paragraphs on the Knicks almost winning.
Look, hey, man, people get in their feelings about about basketball in general, about the Knicks.
Y'all gonna do fine.
I mean, this almost makes me feel bad for deciding that when the Nets won that night, that would be the night that I put up my picture of me in my Steve Nash t-shirt, but I don't feel bad about that.
Oh,
it had been time. It was time for me to toss that up there again.
It was due. It was due. You know what I mean?
It was due.
Sorry, we hope y'all do okay. I don't like the two teams that wear those colors, but I love those colors as New York colors. So I hope they do fine. It matches. Right. It's a cool look. You know, I like the blue and orange stuff. I just don't happen to rep the Knicks and the Mets. But yeah, I'm rooting for y'all. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna make it.
Just in general, in like a
yeah, I don't think y'all gonna win, but y'all gonna survive.
In like an existential way, you guys are gonna make it. Like the song, "We Gonna Make It," you gonna make it.
When your team is winning, I promise you, not a single one of these players will be on the team again. Like none of these guys will be. I'm not going into that. None of your players will be on that team whenever y'all do win. But good luck treading along. There will not. I promise you, there will be no Julius Randle jersey being sold when that team is winning championships again.
Oh my God!
It's just not gonna happen. I see R.J. Barrett will be somewhere in the West Coast.
Why are you being so mean to the Knicks fans?
I dealt with this for years while they tormented me and my Nets. Okay, they were like, nobody on your team matters. You damn right, but we traded those people for people that do. Okay, and I hope y'all do the same. You know what I mean? But let's be honest here, you ain't rooting for Julius Randle in 10 years. You know he ain't going to be there. And he's not a bad player. It's just he's not going to be the one that gets you to the ring. You know, it's okay. You know, he's going to be...
I mean, these 25 paragraphs say otherwise, but...
Oh, man. Tesla removed some drivers from its self-driving test for not paying attention. That's right. Tesla has expanded its full self-driving software to roughly 2,000 Tesla owners, but some drivers were revoked access for not paying close enough attention to the road, according to Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk. The beta has now been expanded. We've also revoked beta where drivers did not pay sufficient attention to the road. No accidents to date. It's unclear.
Look here. Wait, hold on. I just got to stop you. So let me get this straight. They have software, beta software for their cars that test out a full self-driving car.
Yep.
But the people in the cars need to pay attention.
Yeah.
It's truly as if they've never been in America before. You put self-driving in a motherfucker's car, someone who's cocky enough to buy
A Tesla?
a Tesla, and you put self-driving in their car, and you think they're going to pay attention to. They weren't paying attention to the road before.
You know what got me hyped about this is because I agree with you. I don't think anybody's paying attention when they have self-driving beta. That tells me that, like, you had to do some next level shit to get your shit revoked. Like, somebody was like ghost riding the Tesla. You know? Like, yo, you on the highway on the roof, my G? Yo, I'm sorry. I gotta revoke this.
Yeah, someone was surfing on the Tesla. That's the only way.
Yeah. That's the whole...
No accidents as of yet that we know of that we feel like discussing. But there's no... that you had to go above and beyond. This is more than mixing a drink while driving.
Yeah, like
which I've been in cars where people did that, and that was just in like an '88 Honda. So this is beyond that.
Oh man, yeah, you weren't reading a book on the driver's, like you were not in the seat. That's the only way. Yeah. I'm
putting on makeup doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? There are so many ways people are driving and not paying attention.
This is above. I do want them to release those videos just because those people should be heralded for their work, pushing the boundaries of what Teslas could do, you know?
I mean, I get you want to take the software from them, but really, they're the innovators.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to give them the software to see what else this car can't do or to see what can be done to this car. Y'all want the safest people out there trying it out. You need the fucking renegades.
Exactly.
Those are the ones that are going to test the limits of your fucking software. There was a job I had where we had a programmer who was building like new software all the time for the things that we thought we would need.
Right.
And we tell him what we would need and he'd build a new program for it. And then he's like, okay, today I want y'all to break it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
Go in there, do some shit wrong, and continue and break it so I can see what I need to fix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tesla, y'all need to let these people go on and fucking ride these, but let them drive on the sand. Let them fuck up the paint. Let them do whatever. Because ultimately, it's their Tesla. I mean, they're going to have to pay for that anyway if they care about it. You didn't give them loaner cars. These are their cars. You just put the software on them.
Facts.
Put that software back.
And it says beta, so it's fully on them. They know what they're downloading.
Right.
Listen, I figured everything they did reckless is everything I want to see in the commercial when they finally sell this. So I definitely want to see it. I'm about that. I want to see these dudes out there like, yo, listen, I drove on the Jackie Robinson backwards while sitting in the trunk. You know what I mean?
I want to see some Dukes of Hazzard shit. I want to see you and another person racing, and y'all are both like reading magazines. Y'all ain't even paying attention. I want to see y'all jumping over a fucking like you know what I mean? I want to see like hardcore Dukes of Hazzard where the camera stops and someone goes, I don't think these boys are going to get out of this. Do you? Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see Knight Rider shit.
You know, if somebody finally crashes this, they're going to tag this like podcast and be like, innovative driver finally gets into an accident, persuaded to attempt to because of Shalewa Sharpe on the War Report. It sounded like a good idea, you know.
I mean, did y'all want to test it or not?
Google and Microsoft are in a public feud. Google and Microsoft are openly sparring on Friday as the latter prepared to testify at a congressional hearing focusing on big tech's impact on local law. Microsoft targeted Google's dominance in advertising as it described in congressional testimony how the tech industry has contributed to the erosion of local journalism. The problems that beset journalism today are caused in part by the fundamental lack of competition in the search and ad tech markets that are controlled by Google, said Microsoft President Brad Smith in his written testimony.
Shots fired.
I loved it.
Okay.
My man dropping bars. I just thought this was so funny because Hobart was like, you know what I mean? We wouldn't have these problems if some of y'all hit up Bing, all right? You know what I mean?
We were just talking about Jeeves last week.
We ahead of the curve, Sha. You know what I mean? We knew
sure
these
are.
problems was coming. You know what I mean?
First, y'all talk about taking away cookies. Now, look, Microsoft is mad.
Pissed off at y'all, B. Cut the nonsense out. You know what I mean?
That's what I wanted to say. Cut the nonsense.
Man, I enjoy this so much. These two bullies fighting over billions.
I absolutely love Microsoft being like, the problem with your news is that you can only get it from one place because of Google. Like when I buy a PC, I'm not forced to use Microsoft. Okay, bruh. And my other choice is what? Apple? Apple with the $5,000 machine? Apple?
You know what
okay.
I mean? I've been figuring out how to get Mozilla on my computer for the last like 25 years, all right? Man, finally, LeBron James becomes part owner of the Boston Red Sox. LeBron James is now part owner of one of the most storied franchises in pro sports. He has obtained shares of Fenway Sports Group, which is the parent company of the Boston Red Sox, along with several other prominent sport teams and companies. While there's no word of how many shares LeBron owns or how much money he put down, it is clear that he is a minority owner, along with his longtime business associate Maverick Carter. That has got to be the friendship that has paid off the most in life. My goodness.
Don't unleash Maverick Carter on me, but I do think that he talks a lot. Just judging from the episodes of The Shop that I have watched, he talks a lot. My roommate says it's because LeBron is not able to say these things, and that is why Maverick Carter has to ask these wild questions or have these just talk too much because LeBron is trying to be perfect and all that shit.
That's fair. That's worth the money. Yeah, I'd keep a guy like that around.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. You know what, Maverick? You were earning every dollar. I take it back. Much respect
all right.
to you, Maverick Carter.
Yeah, okay, Bleak. You know, we're going to find. We are absolutely going to find.
I'm looking. My Memphis Bleak is out
whoever
there.
The next. We're going to find your sidemen. We're going to find your sidemen. In every story, we're going to find who the sideman is.
Oh, man. I love it. I love it. And, you know, just in general, I'm always pro-black ownership. Love to see it, even if it's one of the racist. Hey, man, we got to start somewhere, all right? You know, you can't boo black and brown people on the field if one of the owners is black. You know, I feel like...
Yeah, but it also took LeBron to be one of the... You know what I mean? And I don't know. Look, Boston, I want to say I love you, but the 2 times that I've been there have been wild to me. So, I mean, you're fine, I guess. But, like, it would truly take LeBron James for them to be like, all right, I guess we can't yell at this one. Do you know? You know what I mean? And I say that there are people that I truly adore and love who are from Boston. But man,
I'm right with you. Boston has been beautiful to me. Like I have a big part of like my performance time has been up there. A lot of my a lot of the cool stuff I've done has been in Boston. Boston is also the only place where someone asked me if I could change how I pronounce something before performance because they thought that the locals wouldn't understand my accent. So,
stop it.
Straight up. Yeah. Like they were like, yo, can you say it this way? And I was like, nah. And they were like, well, we think that people might not understand because of how you sound. And I was like, you're aware that I'm in Boston, right? Like,
right.
Y'all have a little accent thing too.
Have they not heard what the people say about Boston? Okay.
Yeah. Right. So you know, I get it. It's a wild place, but 99.9% of the people I've met have been awesome. The 0.01 has blown my mind with how ignorant they were. So yeah, it's some work to do. It's like the whole cop thing, right? the little bit of people that's doing it bad, they are so bad. My goodness.
Oh, it's so they're prolific with it.
They are outdoing all the good work y'all do. So yeah, you know what I mean? I couldn't enjoy the amazing food because of the ignorance that I had about my accent. I was very tight about it because East New York sounds cool. You know what I mean?
Oh boy. Look, I truly hope that this works out okay for everyone involved. But also, this article says that LeBron has publicly supported the New York Yankees for years. Yeah. So what the fuck?
This hurts.
What are we doing?
Yeah, man. Money over everything, apparently. You know what I mean? I hear you. He picked his dollars. You know what I mean? Nobody in the Steinbrenners offered him ownership. You know, this is a big reason why, like, there's a huge Dominican contingent of Boston Red Sox fans. Because of, like, there's like a perception that, like, the Yankees don't sign Dominican players. So, like, there's a huge community of Dominicans, obviously, here in New York. And they're like, nah, we don't ride with them because all of our stars, when they're free agents, they never get signed here and they end up signing with Boston. You know, like, there was like a year. Yeah, like, when we had, like, we needed pitching. I forget who was the white boy we signed, but they ended up getting Pedro. And then, you know, when Manny Ramirez was available from Cleveland, they got him. Who was the other one? Vladimir Guerrero didn't go to the Red Sox, but he was available for the Yankees, and they just didn't even look at homeboy. So, like, over and over again, it was like, yo, we got stars. Manny in particular was hopeful because he's from New York, and he didn't get signed here, and they ended up going to the rivals. So there's like a huge following of Dominican fans of baseball in New York who only rep Boston because they have this weird idea that Boston is a welcoming place. You know, that's how wild that is. Like, you.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You know what? Loyalty is a son of a bitch, man. It'll have you loyal in places you should not be loyal, but you got to be loyal because the loyalty is needed. Hey, you got to support your people, especially when they're in a place where they probably would not be supported. So I get, like, I'm going to send all my energy up to Boston because that's where my people are, because they ain't giving them what they need here in New York. But that's also like, all your energy's coming to Boston where there's like a bouncer who's just like, what the hell is this? You know, get away. Oh, wow.
But yeah, with that said, we do support all of our listeners streaming from Massachusetts. We love all of y'all.
Oh, we love all of you. And trust me, the next chance I get to go to Boston to perform, I will take it up because I've only been like twice to perform and it was wild both times. And I am hoping that a third time will make sense.
The shows have been fire for me. I loved it. I've been up there a few times. Even did a TV taping out there. So I've had a blast on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not. I have had the bus station catch on fire, perhaps. Jeez. I don't know. It's been wild. It's been wild. Me and Boston, we got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot to discuss.
There you go. So yeah, if you want to support the podcast or, you know, maybe just make us feel good about these Boston traumas, hit like and subscribe or whatever you are using to listen to this show. If you are an Apple listener, we always appreciate your ratings. 5 stars are always welcome. 4 stars are fine too, but really, like, it's right there. Like, you went through all the effort.
Just click the 5.
Just click the 5. It's fine. Trust me. You know, we'll know. It's just our secret. You know, if you have any articles you want us to cover on the show, feel free to DM us directly on Twitter or Instagram at Silky Jumbo, at Gastor Almonte. With all that said, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate y'all. Catch y'all next week. This has been the War Report. My name is Gastor Almonte, always with the homie Shalewa Sharpe. Peace.